We have about 1,500 acres here in northwest Oklahoma that we've landed on, and my husband and I run a progressive cow-calf operation here where we sell seed stock. Our primary focus is on good genetics, proven science that's gone into the development of our cattle so that they can perform well in this environment and be economically sustainable and provide the best end product merit for the consumer. I'm a veterinarian, and I worked in Reno, Nevada for 31 years as a field veterinarian for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. My formative years were just across the line in Kansas on my grandfather's land, and I'd be a fourth generation for the Blunk family, and he acquired this land in Oklahoma in the 40s. And when my father died in 1995, suddenly my mom was sitting in the chair as the matriarch over all of the Blunk lands. And this portion of the lands, she came out and felt that it really just needed to be sold. She just thought it was a pretty worthless piece of property at that point. It held a lot of sentimental value to me from my childhood days with my grandpa out here, and she realized that and started literally clearing the path for us to come back here. And so for Michael and I, when we returned back here, we were able to pick up the reins real easy for what my mom had already started and continue with her good efforts.
Katie came in and said, what can I do? Katie is very innovative. She thinks outside the box, and she is willing to try anything that will better her on the ranch.
There was no infrastructure here at all. We had to build corrals, build a house. We had to get water. Most importantly, we had to drill wells. As far as the land goes, we had to rest the land for like 3 years before we could even entertain the notion of bringing livestock back onto it.
If you could see what it looked like before she took it to what it looks like now, you could see where there's a vast improvement. But it's a never-ending job, and she's always willing, to put forth the effort to do what it takes to, make this a profitable ranch.
We're never going to run out of something to do out here. I mean, when the drought dried up our ponds, we went in and re-engineered some of the ponds to get them healthy again and reinvigorate some of the springs. We actually fenced off a real vital spring area in the center of the ranch, a riparian area, if you will, to keep the livestock out of there so that spring would remain undisturbed. And we've got 4 good wells that we put solar pumps on. And the latest big project was to bring in a huge water storage tank from one of these wells and put the water lines in, so we'll have watering stations around the ranch. It's ever evolving, ever changing. I feel like prescribed fire has got to be one of the most economical tools to use to reclaim our prairies. And it was a learning curve for us to learn all about the use of fire and be comfortable to know that we would be able to pull it off effectively and with, the least amount of risk. The fire has so many benefits from, not only invigorating our grasses, but it helps put carbon back into the soil. It drives the grazing pattern that we use for a rotational grazing practice here on the ranch. It helps bring back more water by getting rid of the eastern red cedars that suck up the water. It invigorates the native grasses, thereby benefiting the wildlife habitats, produces wildflowers and nectaring plants for our birds and our butterflies, the monarchs. We like to use fire on about 1/3 of the ranch every year. Initially, that's what we did. And now we're going to start implementing patch burning in a more fine-tuned manner where we're actually going to be driving grazing even in paddocks, around the ranch. Cattle are the best upcyclers of vegetation that would otherwise go to waste. And they can take things like that and convert it into really nutritious protein. At the same time, Their activity on the land helps to benefit the soil health after a prescribed burn is done, and it's a win-win. Fire and cattle go together.
Having someone like Katie take a program and make it work, when the others see that, it kind of reciprocates to them, and so then they want to try it as well. And so Katie is a good leader for our area.
We feel like that we have had a very successful journey here on the ranch. It hasn't come without its costs to implement some of these conservation practices. But ultimately, with our really good cattle operation that we're running here, we've been blessed to be able to do very well. And I think it's really cool that we've been able to carry on what my mom started, and she's still here to see the results of all the hard work and efforts that she put in and that we've been able to carry on. The Leopold Award, I was when they called me, I was very humbled and honored and overwhelmed, because it was like the culmination of everything that we'd been doing, and to honor my mom's legacy and carry that on. I mean, that really, and she's here to see it, you know. That's really cool.